Hey, what's up, guys? I'm James Strong. I'm sitting here with my friend Zach Gullett. Um, and we wanted to talk to you guys today about the predictions for the 2018 WrestleMania and NXT Takeover that takes place in New Orleans. Um, so we just wanted to jump straight into it, and we wanted to start off with the NXT Takeover. Um, if you want to skip ahead to WrestleMania, feel free to do so. But we're going to go ahead and get started with NXT TakeOver and the NXT Tag Team Championship of the Undisputed Era versus the Authors of Pain versus Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. So I'll let Zach take over here. What do you think? Who are your predictions, and what do you think how this match will end up going?
Well, I have a lot of faith in the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole's been a real strong wrestler. He's been in some crazy matches over the past few takeovers, and I think that they'll really have a good performance. Authors of Pain, former NXT champions, we can probably expect them to have quite a bit of offense, being the largest group in the match.
Yeah, definitely.
And with Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne, it's kind of a new tag team. They just formed in the Dusty Classic. So, I mean, it could be any one of them, but right now I'm thinking that Undisputed Era has the advantage.
Okay, I can see that. I'm not extremely well on NXT stuff, but I have heard a lot about Authors of Pain coming up to the main roster very soon. So simply based on that, I mean, we've seen champions come up from NXT that hold the championship titles, like Kevin Owens, but I don't think they want to do that very often. And I don't think Authors of Pain will win simply because of that. And honestly, I think Adam Cole is about to get called up as well. So I would go with Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. That's kind of an upset victory in my books, but I mean, Pete Dunne has been a championship of the UK champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know Roderick Strong very well, but I do think Pete Dunne could handle that. So that's what I would. That's just kind of my predictions for that part.
So next up, we've got an unsanctioned match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. If Gargano wins, he's reinstated to NXT, and if Ciampa wins, Gargano is banned from NXT. I think there are multiple storylines that could come out of this. If Gargano wins, of course, he comes back to NXT and continues on his run that he's been on lately. And if Ciampa wins, I think this is a good opportunity for Gargano to go up to the main roster.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like with the whole story about Backlash being another superstar shakeup or another draft type deal, there is a decent chance that a lot of people from NXT can get called up, and NXT does have a lot of talent right now, and there's not enough room for a lot of people coming in. So I think either way, there could be a really good storyline that comes from it, and a storyline that could probably extend into the main roster. Who do you think? Would you go as far as winning the match, though?
As far as winning, I think I'd like to see Gargano stay around in NXT for a little bit, maybe have a little bit of a championship run with either of course, the main NXT championship or even the possibility of the North American championship with it being created at this takeover.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know a lot about NXT, but I think he needs to stay around a little bit longer as well. Has he won a championship in NXT?
He was actually tag team champions with Ciampa.
Okay, so this was DUI, right?
DIY.
DIY.
Yeah.
DUI. That's completely separate. DIY. I don't know why I was thinking that. So I do remember that. Yeah, I don't know. I see Johnny Gargano as a solid mid-carder in the main event, so he may not be a priority to bring up right away. So I'll say Gargano winning that as well. So next up, we have the NXT Women's Championship of the champion Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. I'm not for sure. This one I think is pretty simple. I think Ember Moon is ready for a call-up. I think she's going to drop that title.
Especially with her losing at the last takeover, Shayna Baszler that being. I think that this gives an opportunity for her to become women's champion.
Plus, Ember Moon just looks really cool, I think. I think she can use the exact gimmick that she has in NXT, and it will work her over really well in the main roster. And that's something that NXT is known to struggle for in the past with the vaudevillains and
Bailey even.
Yeah, Bailey. Which is really odd because it should work for Bailey. Mm-hmm. But then you had This Is My Life, Bailey's Life, whatever that scene was called. That segment. Oh, that was terrible. But that's a time for a different story. So, just moving on, I'll let you take over for this one.
So, the next match we have is the NXT North American Championship. It's a 6-man ladder match to see who becomes the first North American champion. And in that match, we've got Adam Cole, baby, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, and Ricochet.
Man, this is stacked with... I don't know a lot about EC3, Killian Dane, or Lars Sullivan. I know a little bit about Lars Sullivan, but I mean, with Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, and Ricochet, that's just crazy.
And of course, EC3 coming over from Impact Wrestling, where he was a multiple-time champion there.
See, I'm not familiar with EC3 either. But that being said, I think it's going to be... I'm going to call it. I think it's going to be match of the night. I really think that there's that much behind it.
It certainly has the potential to be a match of the night.
As far as who wins it, I think it's a little too soon for Ricochet to win a championship. I can understand that the North American Championship can be somewhat of a stepping stone to the NXT Championship for him, but I just think it's a little too soon. Adam Cole would be a really good pick for this, just because it would be the first time North American champion, and I think Velveteen Dream has quite a bit behind him at this point. So this is difficult. I'm gonna say Velveteen Dream. I think that he's just got quite a bit behind him, and I really like his pants. Honestly, they're just pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'd like to see them shoot Velveteen Dream on up the roster and see what he can do there as a North American champion. Because I actually got to see him before he adopted this gimmick, the Velveteen Dream, whenever he was just wrestling as Patrick Clark. And he's made so many leaps and bounds since that match that I saw him in, and it's just insane how much he's progressed in that short time span.
And he's never really been given the best shot in NXT, I feel like. So, I don't know, that's why I went with Velveteen Dream. Is that your pick, or?
I would like to say Velveteen Dream, yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'll let you take over the championship as well.
And for the main championship, the NXT championship, we have Andrade Cien Almas versus Aleister Black.
This one, I think Aleister Black is basically ready to be called up as well. But that being said, he's just been so short of a true run so far. And as far as I can tell, everyone still really likes him. I think that he's definitely going to be a top runner for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as well, depending on if he wins or loses this. For whatever reason, WWE seems to be holding him back a little bit. I feel like that's going to continue to happen. I'm going to go with Andrade.
I actually think that Aleister is going to win this match. He's, as far as I know, still undefeated in NXT, and I think that it's finally his time to hold that championship.
I can definitely see that. But so far, I haven't had a single person retain their championship, and I feel like at least one will. So personally, that was big for me in not picking Aleister Black, because I do think he would deserve it, honestly. And I think he is very close to a call up. I don't think he's going to be called up as soon as the first night after WrestleMania or even Backlash. But I think maybe a good Survivor Series call up would be Aleister Black. So with that being said, I think as of now, that's all that is on the NXT card. There may be a couple more added. I don't see many more being added to NXT. They're usually pretty good about what's going to be on the card ahead of time. WWE, on the other hand, we have the card pulled up for them right now, and theirs seems a little bit short, in my opinion. I think that there's going to be a couple more on the kickoff show. The Women's Battle Royal might take over those spots, though, so I'm not entirely for sure. But starting off would be the kickoff show of the Women's Battle Royal. So what do you think about the Women's Battle Royal?
I think it's certainly nice that we're seeing a Battle Royal of course, there's only going to be 2 women's singles matches on the card. And then you have Stephanie McMahon in the match with Triple H against Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. So I think it's good to see.
It's a pretty simple prediction, honestly. But that'll come down later. Sorry, go ahead.
So I think that it's good that they're having a place for more women to be involved with WrestleMania.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I feel like there should be another match or two, but I mean, Charlotte can't really fight the Riot Squad and can't really fight Ruby Riot and Asuka at the same night. So I don't know. There's not necessarily room. There's not a lot of build up for it. Besides, maybe there could have been Sasha and Bayley if they would have built up for that a little more. But I feel like they're going to kind of see that come to a head in the Women's Battle Royal. So, I don't know. There's definitely a lack of story for women right now. And I feel like that's definitely a bad thing leading up into so close into WrestleMania. So what do you think is a winner for the Women's Battle Royal?
Well, so far we have announced for the Women's Battle Royal Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Natalya, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Bayley, Lana, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Mickie James, and Carmella. And out of those, I feel that Becky Lynch is a strong pick to possibly win the Women's Battle Royal.
Definitely. Out of those, I think out of all women on the roster, if every one of them were on there, I think Becky would be the strongest choice. That being said, I think simply because it's the first, they may not go with the best choice. They may go with someone like Natalya, who's been there for a while and has history with the business, out of just respect for her, because they've been seeming to give Natalya a couple of good opportunities recently, and she can really run with the story sometimes. I've seen her fail a couple times, but even with that being said, I think Becky Lynch will still win. Do you have a second?
Well, of course, I have my dark horse pick, Liv Morgan, just because I'm a big Liv Morgan fan. But realistically, I don't see it happening. There's the potential for possibly maybe Sasha Banks or Bayley coming to a head at the end of the match, with both of them being the only women left, and possibly one of them winning it. So that's also a big possibility.
Yeah. See, out of all these that I'm looking at, Carmella, there's really no reason to let her win because she already has the briefcase, and they're not doing anything with that, apparently.
I mean, she did try to cash it in, and we saw how that went.
Yeah. Well, I could almost see her cash in at WrestleMania and just lose, because they basically, from what I've heard, they basically told her that she's going to lose again. If she does cash it in against Asuka, she's going to lose, because they're not going to let her streak go down at just some random show, you know. And I don't think they would let her streak go down to the first WrestleMania either. And then Sasha or Bayley, those are some strong picks. But I think that their storyline doesn't need the Battle Royal to progress. I think it's already... I mean, it's going to come to a head in the Battle Royal, and then it's going to continue on out through a couple pay-per-views. But for my dark horse, I'm going to pick Natalya, just because I think, out of respect for her, that she has a chance. So that's just that's my opinion. It probably is. She's probably just going to be the first one out, honestly. I don't know, but it's stuff happens like that. Do you think we're going to see any call-ups in the women's battle royal?
Potentially, yes. With the history of call-ups in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I think we could see a few call-ups. I believe it may have been confirmed that there were going to be some NXT talent involved with the women's battle royal.
Yeah.
And of course, we've only got less than 15 that are actually announced, so that puts out the potential for...
What about returning, like Lita or Trish Stratus again and all that, like there was in the Royal Rumble?
I don't really see the possibility for that, just because it did happen at the Royal Rumble. So I don't think they need to do it again, but they possibly could.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't necessarily think they need to. Okay, so I'm good to move on if you are. Let's go on with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This is also in the kickoff show, as well as the Cruiserweight Championship. So the thing is the kickoff show itself is like 3 hours, right?
The kickoff show's gonna be long.
So there's got to be more than 3 matches in the kickoff show.
I think potentially they may put the USA Championship, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I hope not, though, because, I mean, it's Bobby Roode, but whatever. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. What are your opinions on that, starting off?
Well, so far we've had Cesaro won it, Baron Corbin won it, Big Show won it, and then last year Mojo Rawley won it. And Big Show was already established as a wrestler whenever he won it. Cesaro, I think, has seen the biggest leap since he's won it, because he's now the tag team champion with Sheamus on Raw as The Bar. But as for Baron Corbin, of course, he had his run as U.S. champ, and he had
his loss of the Money in the Bank.
His loss of the Money in the Bank. And with Mojo Rawley, he just hasn't done anything since he won it. So,
yeah, Mojo, I don't think he has a very tall ceiling. Does that make sense? Like, he just doesn't, I don't think he's able to get any farther than the United States champion. I don't even think he's capable of getting an Intercontinental Championship, personally.
I mean, as far as The Miz has elevated the Intercontinental title, I don't see a chance of that.
Yeah, I personally think they should just go ahead and put Miz in the spot for an actual championship other than the Intercontinental or U.S. champion. But I think he's ready for that. I really do. But, I mean, I don't know. But I think they tried with that, and they're being hesitant with it again since it didn't go over so well last time. Yeah. So go ahead and read off the confirmed entrance so far, and we'll go off that.
So far, confirmed for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, we have Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, Ty Dillinger, Matt Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Goldust, Heath Slater, Rhino, Zack Ryder, and Primo Cologne.
Out of that, I hate to say it, but I feel like was Baron Corbin in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Baron Corbin has a decent chance again, but I mean, you could also make make a good statement for Matt Hardy. Even Dolph Ziggler, since he re-signed with the WWE, he's been pretty good. He's been winning a lot. I almost don't want to say Baron Corbin just because he's won it before, and I don't think they're ready for a 2-time champion in that. Not that it means anything, but but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Matt Hardy as a winner for me. I think that they can just build off of his win and maybe see a Woken Wyatt tag team. I think that would be good. And just build off of that, maybe to a tag team championship, maybe even farther to, I don't know, potentially a good mid-card championship match with that. As far as dark horses, though, well, actually, I'll let you go ahead and make your pick before we talk about dark horses.
Well, I also think that Matt Hardy has a good opportunity to win this here, and I don't know. There's no one else in the match that I think should win it, per se. I think that winning the Andre Trophy could catapult Matt Hardy into a bigger role on Raw, but seeing as the situation with Mojo Rawley and Baron Corbin, I don't think that the Andre Trophy really means as much as they want it to.
Yeah, for sure. It may not amount to anything again, but I don't know. I feel like if they give it to Matt, he could run with it and make it mean something. Because honestly, he's going to continue to go up the card as long as he stays in the WWE, I think, and as long as nobody gets tired of the Woken Matt Hardy, which I mean that's a good possibility as well. But I don't know. So who would be your dark horse?
Dark horse, I want to say Zack Ryder, but
Okay.
of course,
I mean, that's a good dark horse. I think, personally, my dark horse pick would have to be the perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. He just hasn't gotten any credit whatsoever so far, and he lost to, I can't even think of his name. Lost to the dude who sings Rusev Day now. Aiden English. See, Aiden's done well for himself since then, honestly. But still, before he got over with the fans with Rusev Day, he lost to Aiden English. Like, why would you let someone that just got called up lose to Aiden English? And I think Ty Dillinger has the possibility for a good mid-card run. And I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal would be as far as you could get. I mean, winning that would be about as far as you could get, would be a mid-card run. Except for the likes of Matt Hardy. And then Jeff Hardy might be in it as well because he's cleared to wrestle now, correct?
Mm-hmm. He should be.
So, I mean, maybe we can start seeing a little bit of Matt versus Jeff in here. I don't know if we're ready for that yet, but maybe. So yeah, my dark horse would have to be Ty Dillinger. I love Ty Dillinger personally. That's not necessarily the smartest option for me, but it's whatever. Okay, so next up we have the Cruiserweight Championship of Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. And if I'm correct, this is the first championship match since the release of Enzo Amore, right?
Mm-hmm. They had the tournament, and this is the end of the tournament.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care about the Cruiserweight Championship. I think the whole Cruiserweight division is lacking something, and for whatever reason, they're not able to do anything with Hideo Itami. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Man, Hideo Itami's been doomed since he came to WWE. He's just been riddled by injuries, and it's a sad story.
Is he injured now?
He's not injured now, but
I
guess they just weren't ready to pull the trigger on him.
Oh, man, that sucks because he's so good. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about the Cruiserweight Championship. Cedric Alexander's kind of in line for it because he was probably going to win it off Enzo even if Enzo stayed. And Mustafa Ali, I actually really like Mustafa Ali. He's true to the Cruiserweight name and the fact that he's a high flyer and he's really fun to watch. If you would have asked me last year about the Cruiserweight Championship, I would have said that the Cruiserweight Championship should have been on the main card instead of the kickoff show. But this year, I'm lucky to say that it should be even on the kickoff show, honestly. So, with that being said, I don't know. I don't have a lot to add about that. I hope Mustafa Ali wins, just because it sticks to the Cruiserweight name.
Yeah, I'd also like Mustafa Ali to win it, but I think Cedric Alexander does have a good case to be champion.
Yeah. That's why I have the most trouble out of this one. Probably, well, I mean, but other than the Battle Royals, this is probably the most difficult match for me to kind of call a winner for, I feel like. Just because they both have, in my opinion, a really good case. And I don't know. It should be fun to watch. Maybe I'll have a different opinion about the Cruiserweight division in general after watching this match. But because I think it'll be a pretty decent match. Yeah, would you like to add anything else to that?
Don't really have much else to say.
All right, you can go on. What's next?
So next, we're going to talk about the Raw Tag Team Championship between The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, and Braun Strowman and his mystery partner. Do you have any ideas on who you think that could possibly be?
Well, word is there's going to be a big show. The Big Show
I don't
is
like
going
that
to return.
idea.
I personally don't like Braun Strowman with anybody. I think he should be alone. I think he should win the championship alone.
Personally, I feel that way too. But since he has to have a partner, according to Kurt Angle, I really want to see Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. Is he cleared to return?
He should be about ready.
So there is. I would agree with that. There is a strong possibility. Samoa Joe, if he isn't a participant in the Tag Team Championship, I think he would be a participant in the Andre Battle Royal. I'd also read recently that Rey Mysterio has been cleared, or is close to being cleared to wrestle again, and he's in talks with WWE. I think that would be an amazing tag team with Braun Strowman and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, but I feel like if they use Rey Mysterio at this WrestleMania, it'll probably be in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance of that too. If he's in the Battle Royal, he would probably be my favorite to win, just because they need to pull the trigger with him as soon as he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, no matter who is Braun Strowman's partner, I think Braun Strowman's going to win the Tag Team Championship.
I certainly think he should, regardless of who his partner is.
So that's my pick. I think the Bar has done everything they can do at Raw, and I think they should switch over to SmackDown really soon, where maybe Cesaro's fighting aspect wrestling aspect could really be the star of the Bar.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the SmackDown roster and all the tag teams over there, the Usos and New Day, it's about all you have.
Yeah.
So I think spicing it up a little bit by moving
I mean, I'm still a little salty
possibly
that
the Bar over
I'm
to
still a little
SmackDown.
salty that the fashion police aren't being taken seriously anymore. But I mean, that's whatever. That's just a little thing.
That's
for
a
me. But yeah, the Bar, I think they could do really well with the New Day and the Usos, and like you said, SmackDown really needs a strong tag team. And if you consider the Authors of Pain coming, where do you think the Authors of Pain would go?
Probably Raw, I'd like to say. I'm not really sure.
That's what I would automatically think as well, because they're definitely Raw is the A show. They're trying to act like it's not, and that it's equal shows, but Raw is the A show, and I think they're A show talent. But if you look at what all talent Raw already has on their roster, with Balor Club or the Club, and Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, they've already got basically that role field that Authors of Pain really stands in. So maybe Dash and Scott could be moved over to, or the Revival could be moved over to SmackDown as well. I don't know.
I feel like a possible move for the Revival would be good for their career because they're just kind of stagnant on Raw right now.
Yeah.
And they're not really being used very well. So I think a move to SmackDown could see a revival of the Revival.
Yeah. I know they were hugely over NXT. I'm not a huge fan of them in the main roster. I haven't seen a lot of them personally. You haven't seen a lot of them in the main roster no matter what, just because they've been riddled with injuries since they've came up. But that being said, I think it's a good segue into the SmackDown Tag Team Championships match of the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
The Bludgeon Brothers. I'm still not convinced about the Bludgeon Brothers gimmick, but that's just me.
It seems to be working a little bit though. It really does. I thought it looked just so dumb. It looked so stupid. The double B logo they have, that is so bad. It's not menacing whatsoever that they carry around plastic hammers. I mean, I feel like they could easily just carry around sledgehammers like Triple H did, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wasn't a real sledgehammer, but it looked better. But with that being said, they have been booked really strong so far. I don't know if they're ready to pull the trigger on a tag team championship yet, because SmackDown is afraid to pull triggers, evidently. But I think if they want to revitalize the Usos and the New Day, they need to let the New Day win. So, I mean, I guess that's my pick, is the New Day winning back the tag team championship.
I do think that the New Day have a very good chance in this match. Of course, they were already the longest reigning tag champs in history. And winning this would make them five-time tag team champions.
See, the thing is with that, though, too, is I almost feel like the New Day are above the tag team champions. Like, they're above a tag team championship at this point.
I mean, they've just been so over for so long.
It's almost impossible to be over that long, and they've completely made it, you know? They've been over since, their second run? I don't know. I think it's almost time. I don't want to say for them to break up. I don't think they'll ever break up. I think that's one team that will never break up. But I think Big E should have a singles run.
I think that would be good for them. Maybe have Big E involved in the United States Championship picture with Xavier and Kofi being the tag champions.
Yeah.
Kind of like with the Shield.
Yeah. Because at one point the Shield was above a tag team championship, I thought as well. So, yeah, that being said, though, I still think the New Day are the head-on strong to win this one. Is that what you agree with, or?
Yeah, I want to pick the New Day to win this. As much as I really like the Usos since they turned heel. I think it's a phenomenal gimmick.
They've done a really good job. I liked their face paint, though. It looked dumb at times, or it looked distracting at times, but I really enjoyed it. I would almost be down to see that, because they're almost tweeners now. But they've hit this stardom through losing the face paint. So stick with that for a little while, but I do think that they're almost ready to bring the face paint back.
It's a possibility, but
I mean, not for this match.
I mean,
I'm
no,
just saying
not
in the
for
near
this
future.
match, but maybe sometime in the foreseeable future.
But yeah, New Day for me on this one, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. New Day.
Okay, so I'll let you take lead on this next match.
So next up, we have the United States Championship with the champion Randy Orton, who I see as an in-between champion. I don't think that he will hold on to the title in this match. He's going against Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev.
Oh, Bob Roode.
Robert Roode.
Robert Roode. Who do you see winning this one?
Well, I'd like to see Beer Money Inc. win it, but I think with as over as Rusev is right now, if they don't give him a championship, then they're doing him a disservice.
I think I would agree with that, but just because he is a comedy gimmick, I don't think they don't like to give comedy gimmicks a match for whatever. I mean, somehow the New Day got it, and the New Day went to the moon.
I mean, the New Day is the comedy gimmick.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're just afraid to pull the trigger on so much. And, I mean, they were afraid to pull the trigger with Fashion Police, and I'm still salty over that, as I said before. And I don't think the Rusev, I don't think Rusev will win just because of that, honestly.
You don't think that Rusev will pick up the title on Rusev Day? Come on, man.
Oh, well, it will be Rusev Day, though. Yeah, you're right. No, I almost don't think Bobby Roode deserves it back this soon. I mean, he does deserve it back, but I don't think he'll get it back this soon. I'm going to pick the unlikely in this one because I don't think Randy Orton will win either. I don't think he's going to ever be over until he turns heel, and because of the RKOs out of nowhere, I don't think it's possible for him to turn heel. But I'm gonna go with the least amount of possibility to win.
The modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal.
Yes, Jinder Mahal. I can't do that, so I'm glad you did it. I'm gonna go with Jinder Mahal on this one. And you said you're going with Rusev on this one?
I would like to see Rusev pick up a title. The possibility, probably not as much. I think Bobby Roode has a potential, and even Jinder Mahal does have potential to win the title here. I think after holding the WWE Championship as long as he did, that he very well could win this match. But personally, I want to say Rusev.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think it'll be a really good match. I love to see Rusev in a match, in a high caliber match like this. I don't think he'll come out on a tank this year, but it's good, and I'm interested to see Jinder Mahal's entrance, just because I like to see an actual carpet, I guess, a rug, whatever. I don't think they could go in that long because it's going to be a really long entrance again.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about last year's entrance ramp for a second. How long was that thing? That thing was huge.
So, yeah, I mean, I think Jinder Mahal, you say Rusev. How confident are you in Rusev winning?
Honestly, I'm not confident in anyone besides not Randy Orton. I don't think Randy Orton will retain this title. I think it's anybody's game besides that.
Yeah, I would be willing to say the only reason he got this, other than a in-between champion, would be to make him a Grand Slam. I don't see him doing much more with the WWE, honestly, just because it's impossible for him to turn heel again, and that's where he does his best work.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he's just boring.
Yeah, I call him Blandy Orton now, so.
Yeah, I've heard Randy Borton and Blandy Orton. So, yeah. So we'll go on to the Intercontinental Championship real quick. So on this one we have the champion of The Miz versus Seth Rollins and Monday Night Rollins versus Finn Balor and the Balor Club. I'm wondering what color Balor's trunks are going to be this time more than anything. Just because, I mean, face paint helps him out a lot. I think different colored trunks helps him out just as much at this point. So yeah, Finn Balor definitely always has a chance to win. I think his chance is far greater than The Miz retaining, honestly. I think The Miz has done absolutely amazing work, but I think it's time for him to move up from the Intercontinental Championship scene and on to a World Championship title run. I think he's ready for that. So for this one, I mean, I know I was giving Finn Balor all kinds of praise, but I think it's just simple enough as Seth Rollins deserves it right now. And I think Seth Rollins has this one. I think Seth Rollins has this one pretty easy. So.
I don't know. With Seth Rollins winning on Raw on Monday against Finn Balor, I almost want to say that Finn Balor is more likely to win it than anyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the math from previous pay-per-views and stuff, if you win the night before the pay-per-view, you're less likely to win the pay-per-view.
Personally, I'd probably give it about 60% chance Finn wins, 30% Rollins, 10% Miz.
Yeah, and honestly, it may not mean anything, but there has been a leaked, leaked show flyer for house shows after WrestleMania, and it advertises Seth Rollins as the champion. So that was a big impact of mine, but
you've always got to think.
Those are always subject to change.
Little thing they put on the ticket, card subject to change.
Yeah. So I just thought it was odd that Seth Rollins was pictured as the champion, though. But that being said, I don't think it amounts to anything. But Seth Rollins needs to win something. Finn does too. They both are in desperate need. They both
need something.
They both need something. I think that's something for Finn Balor could be a tag team championship run at some point in the near
Rollins
future.
Has already had that.
And Rollins has already had that. I don't know. I can see it either way. So that should be a good match.
I think it has the potential to be match of the night.
Yeah.
It should be a very good match.
Is it going to be just Balor Club Balor? You think?
We'll see.
Or do you think that... I just think that it had to be some... There hasn't been any sort of lead up for a Demon Balor.
Then every single time that Balor has wore paint in WWE as Demon Balor was in a singles match. And where this is a triple threat, I think it's less likely that he's going to wear the paint.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think The Miz will win. I don't think The Miz will retain. I think out of all the people who have it right now, I think he's probably second most likely to retain out of all the people who have championships. But, I mean, I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit later. So, moving on with unless you have anything else to add. Moving on to the Raw Women's Championship of Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax.
I want to say Alexa Bliss retains, but I don't see how she beats Nia Jax by herself without cheating.
Yeah. I mean, Mickie James can come in because, I mean, there's been an odd relationship there. I personally think they should have... I mean, I don't know. It's Nia Jax's time. It really is. But it's also Mickie James' time again, I think. I think they need to do something with Mickie. Since she got brought up after one match in NXT, right? One match, was it? So, I mean, Mickie, I think, deserves something. But I agree with you. I don't think there's any way that Alexa can beat Nia Jax by herself. And I don't think they're going to let a WrestleMania match end in a disqualification. We
will certainly see.
So I don't want to, but I have to go with Nia Jax on this. I love Alexa Bliss.
I think Alexa Bliss is probably the second best heel in the company right now after The Miz.
Yeah, The Miz is top. And I would agree. 100%, I would agree. Especially after the Bailey segment with Alexa Bliss. But that's just kind of let's just not mention that at all. Next is a really simple one. It's the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka's going to win that.
Nobody's ready for Asuka.
I mean,
that's all I have to say about this match.
You don't need to go into this match. They're not going to let Asuka lose her first WrestleMania match. And Charlotte's not the best at retaining championships.
She is very notorious for not retaining championships. Even though she does have a pay-per-view record of, I believe, 16-1.
Yes, she loses the match after the pay-per-view.
Every time after the pay-per-view, she has a match for the championship in a rematch and usually drops it.
So, yeah, nobody's ready for Asuka. It's going to be a really good match.
It certainly should be a very good match. Charlotte and Asuka are probably the two most talented women on the roster, with Sasha Banks, whenever she is a heel, being in that talk too.
Yeah. I would almost be willing to say 4 to 5 star on this match. I'd say a good 4.5 star.
That's certainly possible, yeah.
I don't know. We haven't seen Asuka at her full potential since she's been in the main roster yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing that, most definitely. And I feel like, just kind of looking down the card from here, including this one, after this, there isn't a lot of room for the other people winning. I think it's pretty obvious. With the exclusion of the WWE Championship,
I think
in my
that's
opinion.
the one that has the most room to work with as to who's going to win.
Yeah. And then, we'll get into it later. So next up we have the tag team, or not a tag team championship, but the tag team match of Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And this one, if Daniel Bryan and Shane win, Kevin Owens and Sami are fired from SmackDown. And I think that itself shows where the story's going, because I listened for it in the last SmackDown, and they made sure to say that they would be fired from SmackDown, not from the WWE, but from SmackDown. So I think they're going to Raw.
But Daniel Bryan in his first match back, I hope he gets the win. He certainly needs it.
Oh, it's going to be terrible if he loses. I think there's, I would say, 80% chance that he would win. Shane McMahon doesn't have to show up, and I'd say 80% chance of him winning.
80%, 1-on-2. Let's go.
So, yeah, I think that just kind of builds a rivalry for SmackDown and Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie's going to jump in and say, hey, you guys fired Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. We didn't, so we're hiring them. And I think that if they stay together, they're both going to be top talent on Raw soon.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are both so talented, and I think that, honestly, heel Sami Zayn's been very interesting because he's been a babyface his whole career with WWE, and seeing him in the smiling heel role has been really interesting, and I think he plays it really well, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of an older Chris Jericho type thing, which worked really well with Kevin Owens. And honestly, whenever Sami Zayn was a babyface, I found him really annoying. And I mean, he's really talented, but I thought he was really annoying. And he's supposed to be really annoying now, so he's just turning that smiling and annoyingness up. Like, whenever he was on SmackDown this past week, he started doing a little chant himself, and that was the most annoying thing ever. And it works. It really works for him. So, I mean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I really hope they don't split up anytime soon. They're so good together.
I mean, they've been working together for years, back whenever they were on the independent scene and they were Kevin Steen and El Generico.
Have you seen the El Generico t-shirts?
El Generico, the generic luchador. What a great gimmick.
That's so good. That is so good. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to be said with that besides Daniel Bryan is winning, with or without Shane McMahon. But yeah, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I hope they stay together, and I hope they both. I would be down for them both to have a championship.
I mean, let's just be honest here. The whole Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn thing's been beaten so many times. Like, every time they did that match, it was just beating a dead horse because it had been done for so long.
Yeah.
And I think seeing them together is actually good for once.
Yeah. I do think there's room within the next... I wouldn't even say next WrestleMania, but the WrestleMania afterward, probably, if Sami Zayn still heel, turn Kevin Owens babyface. We haven't seen babyface Kevin Owens ever, have we? Because I think his first match was... I don't know. I'm not for sure. But, yeah, he's always been heel. I think if they're going to do it, which we know they are, because it's WWE, I think Sami Zayn as heel is something different, you know? And I think in this case, Sami Zayn needs more attention because he's just been looked over for so long.
So on to the next match. We have the matchup between Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. What do you think about that?
I think it's actually built up an interesting storyline. I'm down. I wish it would have been Kurt Angle versus Triple H, and gave Ronda Rousey someone real to fight.
Yeah.
In a singles, because we're not going to be able to see a lot. But I can understand her first WrestleMania. She's going to have some jitters, probably. I mean, she's never been in front of that big of a crowd, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, she made her appearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But never in an actual role as a wrestler.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in the Kurt Angle and Triple H aspect of it, but we know without a doubt Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle are going to win.
Oh yeah, they certainly want to keep the goods with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. I don't think Ronda's going to make it far unless she has a speaker for her just yet, because she's not good at talking.
And with the potential of Brock Lesnar going back to UFC, that does open up potentially Ronda Rousey with Paul Heyman as her mouthpiece.
Yeah, and that's really good. He says the same stuff over and over with Brock now, but at first, anyway, for me, Paul Heyman was amazing. Mm-hmm. And he's just generic. He's El Generico now. So, I don't know. I hope Ronda does well. I don't think she has I don't think she's going to do extremely well as a face.
We'll see how it goes.
Just, yeah, her UFC background and her style is so similar to Brock that I think she almost needs to be a heel to make it far. But, I mean, there's already been talks of Asuka versus Ronda next year at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. That could be good, depending on how much Ronda has improved. And she needs a new finisher. I don't want to see a Samoan drop as a finisher from Ronda Rousey.
I mean, she'll probably have like a flying armbar, honestly, because she was always known for her armbars in UFC, so...
And
it would make sense if her finisher was a flying armbar.
She did train under the Brian Kendrick.
The man with the plan.
So
the Brian Kendrick.
He's known for arm bars quite a bit, isn't he?
He's known for a lot of things.
So, I mean, I could definitely see that as an option. But without a doubt, Ronda wins here. Without a doubt. Same thing like Daniel Bryan last time. There's 0% chance in this case of Stephanie and Triple H winning. I don't think it's allowed for a COO to win at WrestleMania, personally, because they can just kind of throw themselves wherever, which is what we see with WrestleMania. Um, so on to what I think will be the match of the night, and that is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Now, you said earlier that the Intercontinental Championship match has a possibility of being the match of the night.
I think this one is the one that's going to give it a run for his money.
I agree with that. The reason I agree that the Intercontinental Championship may be the match of the night is AJ Styles is still a little hurt. He has had some low back injuries or low back problems or something, and he said he's probably going to retire in the next couple of years. So, I mean, I hope so much that he's doing well because they've put him on the shelf a little bit. So he may have a little bit of in-ring rust, but that there's nothing much. You know, we haven't seen him in a singles match in a long time.
Yeah, but he's been wrestling in live shows.
Yeah, so yeah, there probably shouldn't be much there, but I hope this is the match of the night. I think it is the match of the night. I don't necessarily know who I want to win this. I just want to see an awesome match here. I don't care who wins. But as far as making a pick, I think AJ Styles. I think he's going to retain. I think there's a possibility of him not retaining and going over to Raw because he's done a lot at SmackDown. And he's done a lot for SmackDown. But I think he's going to retain.
I think that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to get his first reign as WWE champ. And the reason I say this is because there's the possibility with Roman Reigns winning the Universal Championship, which he's going to, that he'll need some fresh competition on Raw. And I think AJ Styles would be a very good person to show off what Roman Reigns can do, because we've already seen it in the matches that they had previously.
Yeah, and Roman, contrary to popular belief, is pretty good in ring. I mean, the Superman punch. He needs to find something else. That's so dumb. And Brock ate 5 of them.
5 Superman
and then still stood tall. But, I mean, Shinsuke was the one that stood tall on Tuesday, right?
I believe so.
So, by that math, AJ Styles should win. I don't think that math is necessarily right in this case.
I think Shinsuke is finally going to get what he deserves.
I'm happy with it. Either way, I'm happy with it.
I personally hope that this match closes the night. I think that with Shinsuke winning the Royal Rumble, that he deserves to main event WrestleMania. Even though the Universal Championship is billed,
we all know,
as the title that matters more, the WWE Championship has so much history to it, and I think that it deserves to close the night.
We all know how it's going to close, though. Because of Vince McMahon, it's going to close with the big dog.
Big dog got a big yard.
Having both fists raised in the air with maybe a lack of pyro. No, I think WrestleMania deserves pyro, even if no one else, even if Royal Rumble doesn't deserve pyro. I think WrestleMania deserves pyro, but I think the big dog Roman Reigns has both fists in the air at the end of the night.
Yeah, so moving on to the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Big dog gets the win. Everybody goes home happy, hopefully.
Yeah,
Probably not.
They were chanting for Roman against Brock.
I mean,
do you think there's some bad blood there with Brock possibly going to UFC again? Because let's go back 14 years to WrestleMania 20. Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, which is my personally favorite wrestler of all time. And I understand why a lot of people don't like him because he's very generic. But they were booing for both of them because they knew Goldberg was leaving and they knew Brock Lesnar was going to UFC. Do you think there's going to be a similar case here, or do you think Roman has gotten over enough at this point to get a decent chance or something.
Man, I want Roman to be over. It's what's best for the company. If he is over, do I think he will be? Possibly. I think it's pretty much confirmed by this point that Brock's going to UFC after this. And Brock's never really been in it since about
Samoa Joe, maybe?
a while. It's been a while. He hasn't really been in wrestling because he loves wrestling. It's been for the money. And that's been the case for a while now.
I like Brock. I do. I don't want to see another year of part-time championships.
I mean, I think it makes your title look like trash if you only see it on TV maybe once a month, if that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be cheering for Roman.
I think they need to put the title on someone that's going to be there every week, defending the championship, having segments with the championship, just to give it a little bit of face. Because if you look at it, the title history of the Universal Championship, Finn Balor, first Universal Champion, injured in his match, had to give the title up. And then we have Kevin Owens, Goldberg
and Brock.
And out of those, Kevin was the only one that was there.
Yeah. I mean, Finn was just a 24-hour reign. So, Kevin, I mean, kudos for him for being the best so far. Even though he got beat, less than a minute?
Even though he got jobbed.
Oh, man. That's the thing about Goldberg. Takes longer for him to get to the ring than the match lasts. So, all right, last but not least, actually, I don't know. I don't want this match to happen. And it may not
It's
happen.
a big question mark, and we're talking about John Cena versus Undertaker, of course. Will it happen? Won't it happen? As far as I can remember, I can't think of any match that hasn't been announced prior to WrestleMania happening. But I think that there is a great possibility that this match could happen.
Knowing John Cena, he's not afraid to get out at WrestleMania and talk. And I think he's going to come out and call out The Undertaker yet again. And then The Undertaker will come out. I think it'll happen. I hope it doesn't. Honestly, just because The Undertaker, he needs to be actually retired now. He's retired with, quotation marks around it, for 2 years in a row now. After losing to Roman and Brock. So, I mean, I even tweeted, "Thank you, Taker." So I don't want to tweet it again. So, I mean, that being said, though, I do feel like we should probably give a prediction for this match as well. I don't think it has the capabilities of being anything above a 3-star match.
I don't think it'll even be that much. I mean, if you go back and you watch the match that Taker had with Roman last year, he didn't look good. Like, he looked really rough. It was hard for him to get offense in, and he just didn't look like Taker.
Yeah. I've heard that they're bringing back the other Taker gimmick of, what's it called?
Biker Taker.
Yeah, the Biker Taker. And
I mean, he'll certainly need it to get down that ramp.
And that's kind of where that gimmick is going to end as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that the dead man retired. But
now it's time for Biker Taker to retire.
What is that called? Like the American Badass. That's what it is. I think it's time for that one to retire as well. And I think John Cena's got the win there. If they go, I want to see Taker go out on a victory, but that's not going to happen.
And also, if you look at what John Cena said in his last time trying to call out the Undertaker, he specifically called him a dead man walking, which is what his theme, like his keep rolling. Like whenever he had that theme, that was what it started out with. So that's a lot of where this whole idea that that's the Taker that's going to come out has come from.
So yeah, that is all the matches that were announced, and John Cena Undertaker that's not announced yet but may happen. Out of all that, like I said, I think the WWE Championship match is the match of the night with a close runner-up of the Intercontinental Championship. And then after that, I would even say the SmackDown Women's Championship would be a third in the match of the night category. Brock and Roman, I think it has a possibility. Brock can do work whenever he wants to. Whether he's willing to with Roman or not is I don't know, but it's got a pretty good chance. I think the North American Championship and NXT will be the match of the night for that.
It certainly will be a very good match.
So, I mean, that's my thing. There's a lot of just straight up locks for WrestleMania this year. And, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing if we could get some good matches. But if the matches aren't good and it's a lock, I don't know how to feel about this WrestleMania. I was extremely excited for a while, and I just don't know anymore. I don't know. So, that was all the matches. That was our predictions, and we're sitting at over an hour now, so I think that's good. Thanks for listening. If you are listening still, thank you. And this is us signing off, and we'll see you next time.